Hey there, so today we have another review. This is a beer from Threes Brewing, Future Reference. This is their Oak Aged Franconian Dark Lager. Can't say too much about Franconia Dark Lager. It's really something that's really not much of a thing, at least like produced commercially. Um, from where I stand, it's similar to a Dunkel. You can sort of see that in the glass. Uh, Re-review because I didn't even taste this beer. Nigel was running around, like literally spun my tripod around. Anyway, talk about the beer. Three is one of my favorite breweries in New York and also one of my favorite breweries in general. Oak aged. They use oak aging. Surprised why like more breweries maybe don't do it. Why they do it, I don't know. More fermentate or more lagering space for them. I don't know why more breweries choose stainless instead. Or why they choose wood. Also, this is malted from Stone malts out of New England. What else do I have to say about the beer? Love their simplicity on labels, obviously. Um, Future reference and what no one's called that. And then also the glass here. I knew something else. This is part of the Spiegel glass set that I got. The in-laws got me. I probably should have used the stout glass. Now that I think about it, this is the wheat glass, and I was just thinking about like low ABV, wheat beer, blah blah blah. But the stout glass they have is actually specifically meant for like a left-hand milk stout, dark beer around 5-ish%. Probably should use that glass instead, but who cares? I don't think there's huge difference. What shape is the glass? It's very fat glass. So what I think about it is I'm gonna snipe this down, and then to me, it's almost like a big snifter. It's almost like a big snifter with a little bit of like volume here. It's almost like a big Duvel glass, like a big snifter, tulipy kind of glass. But beer is quite dark, not completely opaque. It's like a medium to deep brown color at best, like medium brown. I definitely see some reddish in lights. Wonderful. Actually, maybe more towards like deep brown. Yeah, it's almost looks black. Yeah, it almost looks black to you. And then it has a really nice kind of like medium tan head. The aroma, roasty, really nice. They have really good tasting notes on the website, by the way. But I'm gonna go with mine. I remember sarsaparilla in there. I don't really get it on the nose yet, but cocoa, a little bit of like that's kind of like light hint of like burnt toast kind of thing. Like not all the way toast, not all the way burnt. Hey, Nigel, guess what? You're gonna stay here because you're disrupting reviews, and you just sit here and just hang out with me because you're a black cat. You're gonna have a dark beer with me. Let's enjoy. So a little bit of like cherry, dark cherry kind of like fermentation character possibly, maybe some malt, light kind of mocha roast in there. Just rich and bodacious and not too roasty, but like really nice kind of toasty, deep deep toasty, not roasty. Let's go there. That's so good. I love when beers do this. And I just whoa. Okay, so there you go. We're gonna. I'm not gonna move the camera. I'm gonna move my shot a little bit. I, this is literally why I had to reshoot the video. Wow, this beer is enlightening. It's fun. It's such a trick, and it does something that sort of remind me of what Dark Mile. Sorry. I've literally had like the Dark Mile that I've had from Hogshead in Denver. It does this fun thing. So this beer is dark, but doesn't taste dark at all. It really is a really nice kind of like pale nutty beer. Um, I would have if I had to taste this wine. I looked at it, or no, sorry, tasted it. Just went, even the smell. So you look at it, you smell it, and then you taste it. And each one of those is a transformative kind of process. And if I had to guess what this looked like, I would have guessed this was a very nutty beer. And last beer I actually had that just tastes like this was actually the other night was a Salvatore, Polano Salvatore. And that beer is like a solid medium deep amber color. This tastes like a nutty brown beer. Like I would have full on guessed this was an English brown ale. Um, yeah, something really nice and neutral. It doesn't really have much sharpness to it. It has really nice kind of soft carbonation. They call it oak age. Maybe there's some of that kind of bitterness and tannin drying it out, but it's really nutty. Like on the nose, I was calling like deep toast and not roast. Here now we're backing off even further, which is really quite nice. and it's just smooth. And the beer almost tastes like it's nitroed, but it's not. And somehow it has this kind of like soft mouthfeel. Maybe they, you know what? Is it possible, like for in general, a lot of American breweries push lager kind of CO2 volumes higher, whereas Czech beers actually have a lower lager CO2 volume than American examples. And I feel like maybe that's what the magic is here. Like you sort of soften up the carbonation and you get this kind of casky kind of thing where it's like you have a beer under 5%, and with that softer mouthfeel, you're accentuating so much more flavor and accentuating so much softness, right? So much the importance I think of having a beer at this lower ABV is accentuating softness and malt and juiciness. And I'm talking about juiciness like some people think juiciness like, oh yeah, it tastes like peach mango juice or something like that. No, I'm talking about juiciness as in the malt and the extraction of of flavor. And there's a difference between, how do I describe it? A, there is a different type of texture from a brioche bun that has this melting kind of like buttery kind of character on your palate versus a saltine cracker, which is very dry. I would never call saltine cracker juicy, but you can call brioche or a kind of croissant like juicy, right? So you can sort of go with malt as juicy. That sort of thing I taught, learned from like Garrett Oliver, but like sort of makes sense to me. Like it's not only fruit juicy, but malt can be juicy. Yeah, this is a beer that the volume of 16 ounces is not enough. Like you need a full 4 pack of this guy, and you just need to have a good night. Like at 4.8, you're under Bud heavy. Like think about that. You're under Bud heavy, and the amount of character you're getting here. So let's go with the characteristics. I know they mentioned sarsaparilla in here. I think they mentioned like hints of vanilla in here, but the tasting notes are going to be complex and wide. I get a little bit of Tootsie Roll. I get rye bread. I get pumpernickel. Um, I get chocolate wafers, like those wafer cookie thingy, wafer cracker thingies. Light roast coffee. They mentioned blonde roast coffee. Great descriptor. A little bit of like dried cherry. There's almond. A little bit of like oak, tannin, bark. There's a little bit of cookie in here. Oatmeal cookie. But like just the juiciness of oatmeal cookie, not like oatmeal raisin or the spicing of it all. Nice dryness in here as well. Just insane drinkability, high complexity. Like, this is the kind of beer that, like, oh my god. Honestly, tastes the closest thing it can remind me of is sort of like a dunkel, but also reminds me of the dark mild that I had at Hogshead in Denver. Just like actually, that beer is not as roasty as this. A little bit of lingering kind of well, what is that? It's like really light roasted coffee. Yeah, a little bit of like it's as if you had like a full weird analogy, but it's almost like the thing where you sort of had a whole gulp of water, excuse me, and then there's just one or two coffee rinds left in your iced coffee, and just finish it, and just a little bit that kind of roasted whispers in, a little bit of molasses in here, this kind of breadiness, a little bit of that's kind of like mm, nuttiness. Yeah, I was talking about nuttiness. Like it tastes of nutty brown ale. Really nice, kind of like toasted almond character, a little bit of like pumpkin seed as well. All right, that's enough descriptive, guys. I'm giving my guys a dozen already. This beer is absolutely delicious. Love where the carbonation hits. It's like a light, just pretty beer that just like wraps up everything. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It is the middle-ish of January. This is gonna be one of the best beers I'm gonna have all year. One of the best lagers I'm gonna have all year, but one of the best beers I'm gonna have all year. So, solid rating. Let's go with a really good. And it's aqueous too. The cool thing about it, think about it, but then you just don't want to think about it. Watery, right? Under 5% beer. Darn good. 98. That is a 98. Future reference, threes. Lagers get 98s. 4-3 hazy IPAs on this channel get a 82 or 70, whatever. That's the world we live in. 98 for 4.8% lager. Thank you, Jonathan. Amazing stuff. Threes is just unreal. Cheers later.